Hello and welcome back to the Only Investments podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Suzanne Moore.
I'm Sarah Willis.
And we are back at you with
new and improved
gear, you guys. Do you see how beautiful our faces are?
They're glowing with light.
If you can see us,
yes.
If you're not just listening. Hopefully next week we will have better audio with awesome mics. We're learning new things, trying new technology, re-recording this podcast because everything stopped working. There's that.
Here we go.
But we're learning.
Again. Yep. So welcome back to the Only Investments Real Estate podcast with us. And we are going to go through what we usually go through with you on these bi-weekly podcasts, like things like market insights we learn from our weeks as realtors and private money lenders and Ben lifestyle enthusiasts, give you a little bit of business from behind the scenes, and then just tell you about the lifestyle and deep work stuff that we're doing from day to keep things going and growing.
That's right, you guys. Okay, it is August in real estate. And so we just want to talk to you about what that means, because when we look back at the history of Bend real estate, August is always the lowest month of the season after basically February is almost always the lowest. And then August is the next lowest until we get further out into the year. And we went back into our CRM the other day because we were looking to celebrate house anniversaries for our past buyers and sellers for August. Discovered that in the last 4 years, you know how many houses we've sold to buyers in August? One.
Which is depressing, but
I know. And this year will buck the trend because everything is a month later this year, which is really interesting. We've been talking about that all year. But you guys, it makes total sense because back to school is absolutely a thing. It's a mindset. It's a retail event. It is just everyone is like out having the most fun they can before you start to shift your mindset and get serious about like school and getting back to your goals, whatever they might be. Sarah's going on a trip this weekend. Yeah. Everyone is just like doing other things, spending their money at Target and Kohl's and the mall and not looking at buying houses. So for buyers, this is a great opportunity. If you're not consumed by those things, or you can find some time in your life to focus on looking at real estate, this is a great time to get a deal. And sellers, like if you put your home on the market in June and you just wanted your price and you weren't going to budge,
that might have been a mistake.
It might have been a mistake, and you're probably going to get some lowball offers from here on out. But August is not the best time to list. We never recommend anyone list in August unless they absolutely have to. So don't expect to get competing offers or over asking offers during August unless you've priced it extremely well. So that is August, you guys. Back to school month. Everyone's getting the last little bit of fun in before they get serious.
Yeah. All that to say, if you're a buyer in the market right now, give us a call because we've got time and capacity
and teammates.
Yeah. And we know where to find the deals. So that's the general market feels right now. Historically, it's slow. Right now, we're staying busy regardless of the time of year, even though we will see a little dip in the next couple weeks ahead of school starting. We talked about last week, we left you on the edge of your seat because we're coming up against a inspection deadline. So at the end of an inspection period, that is when a buyer's earnest money will go hard or become non-refundable, and a buyer accepts a home in as is condition if they haven't done
contract.
Yeah, if they haven't done any negotiating. So last week we were sitting around twiddling our thumbs, waiting to hear from the buyer's agent on one of our listings who had done some random communicating with us about needing some extra time, but had never sent over anything formal. And so we were just waiting to see what happens because we're protecting our seller's best interest here by waiting to see what happens for them. And we have encountered this many times for our own buyers. And what we always do in this case, and what we anticipated happening from another professional, was to receive a termination agreement from them before that 5 p.m. deadline
or an extension.
Or
a repair
or something to negotiate on. But we received nothing during that time. And we just played the wait and see game. But the right thing to do, at least what we've done in the past, is to deliver some sort of notification, some sort of documentation to protect your buyer's earnest money and say, hey, we're still willing to play. This is not our intention to terminate this transaction. We just need more time or something like that. But it's basically one of our biggest jobs in this industry is to protect our buyer's earnest money and to abide by deadlines because they're all part of the contract. It's pretty important stuff. So we told you we would tell you what happens next week. And here we are a week later.
A week later. And it was Sarah's day off. So I'm sitting here after basically it was the night before was the deadline and nothing came through by 5. And our sellers were like, are we in the clear? And I was like, basically these buyers have the financing and appraisal contingency left if they really wanted to bail out of this deal and keep their earnest money. But as far as we're all concerned, they have accepted the home in as-is condition without any repair request, extension, or termination. So next morning, lo and behold, we look in our inboxes and the agent had sent us an extension, but not until an hour and a half after the deadline. So what would you do? These are contractual timelines. It's not like we're making up the 5 o'clock deadline. It's in the contract. It's on the timeline. We know that this is like the hard and fast rule, right? So I hop on the phone with the buyer's agent and I say, hey, your deadline was at 5 o'clock. We didn't get anything from you. And then we saw that you sent something at 6:30. And technically, your buyers have accepted the property in as-is condition per the contract. Our sellers may be willing to entertain an extension, but talk to me about the thought process here.
What are you thinking?
At which point,
Tell me more.
she hung up on me and communication went downhill from there.
Yeah.
So from that point on, we utilized our good friend ChatGPT, Kill Her with Kindness, because she went to a real dark place in her communication and her assumptions of how we operate. And it's unfortunate. If you've listened for a while, one of our core values is to always assume positive intent. I assumed positive intent on her part and her buyer's part, that they had nothing that they were going to be negotiating. And then when they sent something over, it was like, okay, our sellers will probably be willing to work with you, but talk to us.
Yeah.
What happened? Because we all have to hold ourselves to professional standards. And I think ultimately the reason I got hung up on was this agent realized that she messed up in a $5,600 way at the expense of her buyers. So from then on, communication got pretty tenuous. So Sarah really took over communication from then on. And the cool thing is that our sellers have no idea that any of this is happening, that there's any tension. They know that an extension was sent after the deadline and they were cool about it. Did they have to be? Absolutely not. Could they have walked away with these buyers $5,600 and put it back on the market? Absolutely. But they have no idea what we're protecting and shielding them from in terms of this agent's like very disrespectful, sometimes even kind of violent communication. And that is also our job, is to protect them so that they don't have to know all the backstory. But we share it with you all because it's interesting to know what happens behind the scenes and behind the buffer, essentially. So at this point, we're moving forward.
Yeah.
Despite this agent's lack of professionalism. What's our big takeaway here, Sarah?
I think our big takeaway, or at least my big takeaway is, or what I've been reflecting on with this is like, we've been doing this Kill Her with Kindness technique, which I'm not going to say that I don't typically have kind communication, but my communication usually tends to be more collaborative and curious and direct. And with this agent in particular, there really just hasn't even been that opportunity. So my takeaway is like, in order to serve our clients the best, we have to be able to recognize and analyze the type of communication that's going to be most effective with the party on the other side and adapt our own communication style, regardless of whether that's necessarily true to how we normally operate, because I've recognized that this is just not even on the same level, same playing field as us in terms of how we're able to communicate and negotiate in a professional way. She is like the freaking Wild West when it comes, like she is like equivalent to like how I communicate or how my St. Louis, Missouri tenants communicate with me. No joke. Like I had to pull out my lessons from that to deal with her. Anyways, but she's lucky I haven't checked her and put her in her place yet, because that's my typical, I'm ready for the transaction to be over probably to give her my honest and direct feedback, because she is not protecting her clients from the emotional whiplash that she is creating from this transaction. Anyways,
bringing them into the drama that she has created. But you guys, we're killing it with kindness all the way through this transaction. We are going to close this thing. You will be the first to hear about it when it closes. And we just want you to know about a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff that happens that you may not know about when you are a client or when you're a new realtor starting out. And we have another topic here too, which is who you work with matters. And everyone has their specialties, right? We specialize in mostly investment properties. We also help people relocating and trading up or down here in the Central Oregon area, but primarily we focus on investments, which means we get creative within investment space, and we work with a variety of escrow agents, and most of them do the very typical residential transactions, which is like bread and butter, right? That's the majority of transactions that happen on an annual basis. But I will say not everyone is as versed in creative financing and investments and the way that we do things to help our sellers and sometimes our buyers create win-win scenarios. So we have a condo that we're selling for a client, and they're doing what's called a wrap. Sellers are continuing to pay their underlying mortgage after they sell the property. It's going to be
to the buyer.
It's been fully disclosed to the buyer. The buyer totally understands. They've done this a million times. They're good with it. We're doing a contract of sale, which means the deed does not transfer into the buyer's name until they have fulfilled their financial obligation to the seller. And then there's a memorandum of contract that gets recorded once that financial obligation is fulfilled. But that basically sits at escrow, signed by all parties, but not executed until that financial obligation is fulfilled. Are these things common? If you're in the creative real estate space, they are. Are they everyday transactions for someone that does mostly residential closings as an escrow officer? No. So we brought it to our typical, the person that we generally use the most, that we recommend to most of our sellers. And it was,
I don't even know why we did
I don't
that
know why
this
we
time.
did it.
And we just weren't
Because,
thinking. That was
yeah,
not
we weren't
smart.
thinking. We were hustling. Anyways,
So
so
we realized it right away.
yes. And we have also noted to ourselves, like, hey, for creative transactions that are a little bit out of the norm, we know that we need to have a different escrow agent on our team who's ready to rock and roll with these transactions without ruffling feathers, without necessarily creating unnecessary concern or uncertainty, which was something that happened with the same property with a previous buyer and this escrow agent. We learned from that, forgot to update it in our paperwork, but then we caught it and we changed to an escrow agent who does this all the time. And it was a total different scenario.
I want to go back though, because yes, because we're moving fast. This is a very fast closing, probably like less than a week long closing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, got it open this weekend. And that's one reason why we love this escrow officer, because she answers her emails on the weekends.
She's amazing.
Yeah. And she asked Suzanne to call her just to discuss it. And this is when all our little red flags started going off again. And we decided together that it was a good idea to move this escrow officer and promptly let her know, please disregard this open escrow email. We're moving on to our clients think it's better to move on to a different escrow team altogether for this one. Her response was kind and direct, which I totally appreciate, but it was, in my opinion, on the defensive, right? She said, hey, I just want you to know, like, I was only asking these questions for these reasons, that I can still do this deal for you. Mm-hmm. Great, thank you, but no thank you in this case, right? We reached out before we settled on the person that we're actually using to another local escrow agent that we've touched base with in the past on creative deals and is typically able to help us with those. And we heard back from her that her escrow company recently made changes that are not allowing them to do this anymore. But the difference in response when she realized that she wasn't going to be able to help us and this other escrow was night and day, in that her response was extremely proactive and like generous, in that she went and did research for us to try and find somebody locally who could help us, and brought us another company and another escrow agent's contact information who could help us. And we had already moved on to somebody else at that time, but I was just like blown away by that, because that was extra time out of her day sending us to another company, which is not typical. So it's just there's nothing bad to say here about anybody, but really just the lesson is just like, there's different strokes for different transactions. So like, you just need different people on your team who have different specialties.
Absolutely. Like, you don't want to use necessarily like your residential realtor to help you buy investment property, because they're not going to know how to analyze it. They're not going to be bringing you the best deals necessarily unless they're investors themselves. So all to say, who you work with matters, and all relationships preserved and direct communication had with all these various parties. Yeah.
My goal with whenever I'm communicating in these sometimes potentially friction-filled conversations is I try and imagine myself, if I see you in public again, is this going to be comfortable? I want this to be like, it's just we're just honest with each other. And reputation means everything, and it's a small town. So
for sure.
That was fun. And what else we have to talk about?
Let's talk about expanding our team again, you guys. So you know that we just brought on another associate, Mackenzie, who's been working with us in like an ad hoc assistant role for a number of years. And now she is officially on the Coin Home team, which we're super excited about. And because she is joining our team, and also just like looking at our workload and the upcoming travels we have and how we're shifting our focus to building bigger and better, we are hiring a transaction coordinator assistant with our current transaction coordinator. So it's been really fun. We just hopped on an interview with a candidate this morning, and Joseph, our amazing transaction coordinator, was so awesome in just chiming in and sharing his experience about working with us, sharing what the first few days would be like when they do their trial period with us. And it was just really fun to see him start to shine and step into that leadership role, because it will essentially be assistant to him. So he can delegate and hand off tasks to this person. And our goal with that is to give him leadership skills and the ability to learn how to delegate, how to manage, and how to lead.
Yeah. And one of our primary reasons for hiring this TC assistant is to continue to fill in gaps where we currently have vacancies, right? Like in terms of our support. So we're coming into that season where Suzanne does her remote work and her world traveling. Like this is why we do what we do, right? Is to enjoy this part of our lives. And when she works remotely in Europe, she's on a completely different schedule, right? And so what this new transaction coordinator, what this new VA will do is they'll be able to cover the times of day where Suzanne is actually awake and alert and alive, and also on our weekends as well. So we're filling in these gaps where it's felt hard in the past, and providing just getting more support for ourselves in that way.
And our clients, like the more support we have, the more quickly we can respond to our clients on those kind of off business hours and keep things rolling even through the weekend, because if real estate doesn't stop at 5 p.m. on a Friday, that's pretty much when it heats up.
Absolutely. Expanded capacity for sure.
Yes.
And part of our team expansion, we're realizing we've always been team Suzanne and Sarah, and we are moving towards branding that is more inclusive. So we're rebranding as the Coin Home and Investment team, primarily residential investment real estate. So like up to 4 units is our specialty. We do it all, but this is going to allow us to, just be more inclusive of our team and just grow in a bigger and more intentional way.
Yes. And you guys, one thing that we're also doing, so, the more that we level up and create leaders within the team that we have, the more we can focus on building the business, building out other businesses. And the way we do that is by investing our time in deep work. And this is something that came up on our mastermind this week and last week, where we recalibrated our entire calendar for the 3 days that we spend together in the office, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday until travel time. And then we'll have to recalibrate. Sure. But we're doing the deep work so that we can focus these really intense time blocks on work that helps us move the needle in our business. We were talking today, you guys, like, spoiler alert, you might see a book or two from us in the next year or less if Sarah has her way. But we're excited. We have knowledge to share on a number of different topics, whether it's real estate investing, becoming a real estate agent, building a real estate team, private money lending, property management. Not that we want to be professionals in that, because that's something that we would both prefer to delegate. But you guys, we have a lot of knowledge to share. And so having these deep work times gives us the ability to elevate and create more things and really serve better. Give our gifts to the world in a way that is much more impactful than writing contracts, there's nothing bad about writing contracts and doing real estate deals, but it allows us to bring the gifts that we have uniquely developed and honed over our careers to help other people.
Yeah, it manifests it manyfold, able to share that same experience and allow other people
to grow as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Feels really good. We're excited.
Yeah.
Talk about what you're reading.
Oh, sure. So part of that growing, so Suzanne and I just started our own book club recently. What all that means is basically like Sarah needs to read more. Haven't had time to do that in the past 10 years. And I just pulled a book off the shelf called Radical Candor. Okay, guys, Suzanne says I don't really need to read a book on radical
No,
candor.
you don't.
But I am in the process of refining what that means to me and how to apply it as a boss, right? To apply it as like in an inspirational way. right?
Not just a boss, as a leader.
Yes, as a leader. But I used to have an aversion to this word bosses until I started reading this book. So
Oh, interesting.
yeah, I think there's a place for that word.
Mhm.
But what I want to share with you today, like just a fun little tidbit, is learning the difference between, okay, so you need all types on your team, right? And one thing that hit me was like the distinction between what a rock star is and a superstar is. And you need them all on your team. And rock stars, of course, we all want to get to the bottom of what drives people, what motivates people. But like rock stars are those people who are like, just like innately there on your team, there forever, like complete team players, like are fulfilled just by doing their job essentially. Whereas and they're like in this place and you can always depend on them to do what they're doing. And superstars are those people that essentially have no ceiling, are the people that are always looking for growth and expansion. And there's places for both of them. And it's just so interesting to put yourself in either and or of those positions, both as a leader and or just like someone on a team.
Yeah.
So I liked having that language and that distinction and being able to just think about that and how that applies to our team moving forward.
I can't wait to read it. I just started reading Buy Back Your Time, like a topic that's near and dear to my, essentially what we're doing as we build out our team, we're delegating the tasks that are better done by other people so that we can do the tasks that are better done and are more fulfilling to us and ultimately to our clients. A couple more things just as we wrap up here. We talked about it. I'm about to head off on my season of travel. So preparing also as we build out our team and thinking about where people slot in and what they can do the best of. But part of that is also making sure that we have a lot of fun together for the departure. So later today, we have the Suzanne and Sarah fun day.
Yeah.
Sarah has planned a fun riverside adventure of floating.
We're going to go blackberry picking on the river because what's better than that? Combining those two things. I bet not a lot of people know how to do that here in Central Oregon. And then, we're going to go on the best rapid spot behind my house. And then we're going to go have happy hour and snacks and maybe play a pool or shuffleboard.
Oh, shuffleboard for sure.
At the River House, which is right around the corner from my house.
Yay.
We're looking forward to that. Yeah, just
So
spending
excited.
quality time together outside of work is important to schedule into just for fun, even though we build in fun every single day.
For sure. Yes.
Yeah. So life in Central Oregon, things like it's been a pretty mild summer and we've had no smoke. It was so crazy. And school's about to go back into session and like things are about to change again. And it's great.
Yeah, there's so many concerts happening like right outside our door here. So every single day there's a new concert and somebody rehearsing. And so it's super fun there. And then, like we have people coming to camp on our property and hang out with us this birthday weekend. And so I'm just excited to be able to be outside in the beautiful 90 plus degrees is totally my weather. This is amazing, smoke-free, beautiful. Like we tubed the other day, like on our little river. And I didn't realize, oh man, tubing is fun, but like I'm almost like too impatient for it.
Oh, because it's slow. Yeah.
And you like can't
cool.
control anything. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
two people that are like very efficient and one of whom is a
Yeah.
control freak. This maybe isn't the best activity. And we were like, okay, we tried this and we're definitely sticking with the paddleboards.
Yeah, paddleboards are good. Ours is exciting and we'll give you a little paddle.
I'm
but it's
excited.
really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's slow for me too. Anyways, guys, it's been fun as usual. And thanks for listening and or watching the Suzanne and Sarah Only Investments podcast. We'll get it right one of these days.
I know.
We'll
the
see
Only
you.
Investments podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, do all the things. Follow us on Instagram, like our video, follow us on and subscribe on YouTube. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye, y'all.